It's official. Campaign 4 of Critical Role is going to be using the 2024 rules of Dungeons and Dragons. The most baffling choice that I never expected would happen. In the video they just uploaded, they talked about all the different changes, and there's a lot that's going to be happening with Critical 4. Critical 4, close enough. And the most baffling change out of all of them, in my humbling, honest opinion, is the fact that they are staying with Dungeons and Dragons and playing with the new Dungeons and Dragons rules for the 4th campaign. A decision that I'm certain Wizards of the Coast is praising the fucking gods for, because holy shit does Wizards need a win with this new edition. And Campaign 4, sticking with Dungeons and Dragons and playing the new rules is probably the best thing they could have ever possibly asked for. Now, they did say they're going to keep playing Daggerheart with the new season of Age of Umbra plus other smaller mini-series they're going to be doing alongside of Campaign 4, but they said that Thursdays are going to be Dungeons and Dragons with the nerdy-ass voice actors. And speaking of which, all the original cast members are coming back along with a super huge amount of new cast members. How many? 13! 13 players in this next campaign. 13 fucking players. The next campaign is going to be a West Marches style campaign, meaning there is going to be 3 separate groups all happening simultaneously within this single campaign setting. You'll have one group here, and another group over there, and it's going to be 3 separate tales, all DM'd by Brennan Lee Mulligan, happening at the same time, but not all at the same table. And what are those cast members? Like every single additional cast member that has been on Critical Role within the past decade are coming to Bay in this next campaign. So for anybody who's worried like their favorite guest, like Robbie, wasn't going to be in it, no. Robbie, along with every single other fucking person, is in this campaign permanently now. I think this is probably well, it's not even a probably, this is the biggest change Critical Role has ever made to their current platform. It's still not going to be live streamed, which still sucks, but I mean, now you're managing 13 players plus Brennan, who's, 14 people plus cast and crew. So I understand why it's not being live streamed, but it still sucks that you are watching a game happen with the voice actors who are laughing at information they already know and not with them experiencing it as it happens, which is something I still miss from the first 2 campaigns, but I digress. I am still incredibly baffled though by the choice to stay with Dungeons and Dragons for Campaign 4. Because in the last video I mentioned that I wasn't sure if Critical Role felt it had enough namesake and staying power to switch away from Dungeons and Dragons and just play Daggerheart, but I think they were probably going to do that anyways because then they would not be tied to any other third parties anymore. They could be completely in-house with everything. Because even if it's just for the familiarity aspect about it, and also so that all the brand new cast members are playing a system that they're familiar with, then okay, I can get that. But if you want to also onboard people to your product that you want to sell, why would you not make Daggerheart your flagship campaign? Do they not think Daggerheart has enough flagship capabilities? Because the sales margins would say otherwise. I don't know. It's a very, very interesting choice to stick with Dungeons and Dragons for the next campaign and not go full bore with your own product. I do think there's another big problem on the horizon for this campaign though, which is staying power for audience members. Because you know it and I know it. The moment this campaign gets a couple episodes going, everybody's going to pick their favorite of the 3 table groups. They're gonna like watching certain episodes with their certain favorite group more than watching the other episodes with those groups. Which means turnout, episode to episode, is going to be a wild roller coaster event based on what group are we playing with today. And I can absolutely see events where Group A will get to an amazing, like crazy cliffhanger where you just go, I cannot believe this happened, I can't wait to see what happens next. And then you don't know, and you won't see that group again for maybe a month, if not more, while you balance the other 2 groups and what they're doing. And I think with that, a lot of the viewership that wants to see this group is not going to stick around and watch these other 2 because they don't care. They just want to see what happens here. For an example, just look at The Walking Dead and what it started doing with all its fucking jumping around episodes. How many people stayed watching after that happened? Not a lot. It's not to say the Critical Role 4 is The Walking Dead, by no means. But when you're doing a campaign in this way, the similarities will inevitably creep up. I am genuinely excited to see this. I'm even more excited to see this with now that they're doing a West Marches style campaign, but I do fear that a lot of people are going to drop out of this inevitably because of 3 different tables, and not all tables playing at the same amount of time or the same amount of sessions, and I think it's going to be way too much for people to watch. Even experienced Critical Role watchers, I don't think are going to kick into this one as they would other ones. Time will tell, as with all things, but number one craziest thing is still the fact that they're playing Dungeons & Dragons. Wizards has to be absolutely on their knees thanking God and Almighty above for this.